The generic formulations are required to demonstrate the bioequivalence. Bioequivalence studies are performed in the fasting state or in the fed state, or these are required to be performed in fasting and fed both. Sometimes the formulations are required to demonstrate the bioequivalence in single dose study, and sometimes multiple dose studies are required. I welcome all the viewers to this video, which is based on the topic when the fasting state bioequivalence study is required. A fasting bioequivalence study is required for the generic formulations to demonstrate the bioequivalence when the state is fasting, and in that state both the reference formulation and the test formulation are given. So why it is necessary to perform fasting state bioequivalence study and when it is required. So for immediate release formulations or IR formulations, if the RLD label or the reference formulation label specifies the administration under fasting condition, so you can always refer the label of the reference formulation and you should check what is the mode of administration or what is the food effect, and if label shows that the formulation is required to be administered under fasting condition, then fasting state is required in the bioequivalence study of generic formulations. Then second, if the RLD is absorbed rapidly or has a narrow therapeutic window, if the effect of food on absorption is not significant, then also fasting study is required. As a part of ANDA submission for most generic applications and ANDA submission, fasting study is primary requirement unless the other condition is specified. So it is required regardless of the dosage form, that is tablet, capsule or suspension, for the immediate release formulations. When fasting B study is required, the another reason, when no food effect is claimed or food effect is not known. If the drug is BCS class 1 or 3, if the drug is belonging to highly soluble type of molecule, BCS class 1 or 3, and BioAware is not applicable, that time fasting state B equivalence is required. If the product label doesn't recommend taking with food, when required by the FDA guidance. So sometimes product specific guidance are provided by the US FDA and other regulatory authorities like EMA. So these product specific guidances that outlines whether fasting, fed or both studies are required. And if the product specific guideline says that fasting is sufficient, that time fasting state B study is required. Why a fasting B is important? So it provides baseline assessment of the drug's absorption without the effect or interference of the food onto the pharmacokinetics of the drug product and the drug molecule. It helps to detect differences in formulation performance because of the food, the formulation differences may get masked. Example of the formulation performance variables or quality attributes are disintegration, dissolution, and solubilization of the API in vivo. It is required to prove therapeutic equivalence with the RLD. Coming to when the fasting state is required and fed is required. So fasting is always required unless waived or not applicable, and fed is required if food affects RLD absorption or it is labeled that take with food. So this is the reason, and these are the important points to be considered for fasting state B study. I hope this video will give you understanding about the fasting state. Also, as per the scientific literature and as per the scientific understanding, fasting state is the most discriminatory state for the bioequivalence. That's why generally fasting state B is required. Thank you for watching the video, and let's meet soon with such kind of informative video.